Hey guys, I wanted to make a short video for you as you head into week 2 of your support raising projects for Puente. We are talking about budget, which can be slightly terrifying, and really overwhelming. So I wanted to share 3 things about budget and then give you a little bit of help when it comes to what this means. All right? We're here for you if you guys need help with your budget. We want this to be something that serves you moving forward in ministry, not a weight that you have to carry. So there are ways to do it that can really set you up for success. So let us know if you need help. We'd love to help you walk through this. All right, so 3 ideas. You ready? And then we'll talk about the budget and get you guys on your way to getting it done. So first of all, the first idea would be that when we look at budgets, it would be easy to think that trusting God and having a budget are on 2 opposite sides of the spectrum. But really what it comes down to is we can plan, but God is the one who directs our paths. Part of stewardship, and we see this in the Bible, especially in the Gospels, and Jesus talks about being faithful with what He's given us. We want to be faithful with what God has entrusted to us so that we can be given more. Not because we're selfish and greedy, but because we want to be able to do more for His kingdom. So creating a workable budget is a way to be stewards of what we've been given, but also continue to trust God for His provision. It's very foolish to say, well, I'm trusting in God, so I don't have to budget, or I don't have to plan for my finances. Yes, we do, because we want to use wisely not only what God provides for us, but honor the people who give and the ways that God gives to us. So that's the first thought, right? So second thought, these are just really short. Second thought is it's so important to remember that God is our provider, but we are the ones who are called to steward. And it kind of goes with the first point. God will use multiple avenues of provision as you're in the mission field, and even in the seasons if you may find yourself in other places of ministry, whether that be in the sphere of government or education or family. God is our provider. He uses friends, families, creative means of income. He uses nature. He uses just really surprising ways to bring provision. But we are the ones who are called to steward. And when we work on things like budgets that get really technical, there can be a tendency to want to start to control and limit where our money goes and how we use our money. It's so key to stay sensitive to the Holy Spirit as you work through this process. So instead of looking at it as something that you're trying to control, look at it as something that you're stewarding, that you're keeping open to the Lord and you're caring for because He's entrusted it to you. All right, final thought. Are you ready? When it comes to budgets, start with what you have. You're going to look at this piece of paper in a few minutes and be completely and totally overwhelmed. Maybe not. Maybe you'll be excited. I don't know. And you look at these 20 or so items on here, and I mean, some of these things you're thinking about for the first time. Never had to think about them before. That's okay. That's why we're doing this process. There are 2 types of budgets, really. One is a realistic type, which is you take what you have currently and you fit that into a budget. So if you have $100, you look at your budget and you say, where is that $100 going to go? And that's where your budget ends. The other type of budget is a goal budget, where you say, this is where I want to get to. This is where I feel like I'm being challenged for my faith to grow. And then you build out your budget accordingly. The great thing about this template is it gives you both. So you can do what you currently have as well as where you think you're headed or where God's calling you. So that's cool. Now, before we get into the technicalities of how this works, for those of you who aren't very, just your mind doesn't work in columns and sheets and numbers and graphs, that's okay. You can do something as simple as this. Take a sheet of paper and draw 7 circles. That's all you need to do. And in these 7 circles, you're going to write the following things: savings, giving, rent, that might not apply to you if you're living on campus, but still write it there. Food, utilities, transportation, and staff fees. Now those 7 things are your basic essentials when it comes to your budget when you're on staff with YMCA Diego Baja. And take a piece of paper like this and just write those 7 things, and then write in either the number that you know, for example, staff fees, rent, you know those are solid numbers, or the number that you can figure out is livable for you on a monthly basis. This is a monthly budget. And then you add up a total, and that is the beginning of a budget. So feel free to do something simple like this if your brain freaks out when you look at this, okay? All right, so for those of you who need to do this, start here, and we can take you from there and help you grow. For those of you who are able to use this, let's talk about this. So this spreadsheet is an autofill spreadsheet, so you don't need to print it out. You can do it all on your computer if you have one, or even on your phone, and save it to your drive. When you click on this column that says monthly, you're going to write in what you either currently know you spend or what you're feeling stretched and to challenge to budget for in the future. And then it'll automatically tally up annually, and it'll also tally up at the end of each one of these sections. So this red section, this blue section, oops, and this green section. This is what's called a 4 walls budget. So you start with what's the essentials, what I call your 4 walls. In our case, we have 7. But the core things that you need to have for yourself or your family in order to just survive. You start by putting your money here. So this can either be what you know you currently have coming in, or it could be worked as what you feel stretched to go to the future. And you start writing in how much money you either have coming in or what you're budgeting for the future. And when you get to 0, you stop. And then you know, okay, that's where I'm at currently for my budget. And from there, you have faith to plan for the future. Some of us will be able to get all the way through these red items, and you'll be great. If they don't apply to you, just put a 0. If you don't have a vehicle, if you don't have a rent, just put a 0 and go on to the next thing. So if you're able to finish this red part, you can go down to the blue part, which are called priorities. These are items that you can live without, but they're really important to you. And you start filling in numbers there. Now you can do it with what you currently have coming in as income, or you can work it as a future budget where you're stretching and where your support goals are. And finally, they're lifestyle things that you can completely live without, but they'd be nice to have. And then at the very bottom, if you scroll down, you'll see that 3 totals. You'll have the essentials, you have essentials and priorities, and essentials, priorities, and lifestyle. So that helps you see your goals that you have monthly, your goals that you have annually for each category, and each step as you grow in your budget. So that's how that works. You can print it out if you want, but it does all the math for you, which is really fun if you leave it on your computer or your phone. And one final thought, after you fill out the budget, if you need help, please ask, and use as realistic numbers as you can, because that will actually make your budget helpful and usable. Put it to use. Maybe this month when you're in Puente, it won't be the most ideal month, but starting once we finish, take a month and track your expenses according to the budget that you wrote out, and at the end of the month, see how realistic it is. If it's spot on, great, keep moving forward. If you see some areas for improvement, evaluate, adjust, and move forward. There's no failing when creating a budget except for not using it. The only way you can do is succeed. So it's good news, huh? So hopefully this is helpful for you to start to manage what God's giving you and steward it. If you have questions, we're available, and we look forward to seeing what comes of your work this month.